Hi everyone and welcome to week 8 of the Mat Pilates sessions. We're going to start off by rocking back and forth on the feet, coming up onto the tiptoes and then rocking back onto the balls of your feet. Bringing your hands to your hips and we're going to hinge forward, looking towards the mat, seeing how our hips feel, seeing if we're tight in the hamstrings and just trying to warm up and mobilise the spine. And let's do 2 more, exhaling to go down and inhaling to come up. Last one. And we're going to come back to neutral and work on our shoulder shrugs. So inhale, the shoulders come up. And then exhale, roll back and down. So bringing them up towards the ears to see how it feels. And then pulling them down the scapula. Warming up the trapezius muscle. And just relaxing the shoulders as you come down. And see how we're feeling today. See how your body's feeling. If there's any tightness anywhere, we're going to try and work on getting rid of those stresses in the body. And now let's reverse the opposite way. So we're going forward as we roll the shoulders round. Inhaling to come up and exhaling to drop down. Try and choose a point opposite you and focus on that point. And as you do so, really try and engage with the muscles. Now we're going to do a lateral bend over to the right and then coming down to the left side. As you come down, letting the hand be pulled towards your armpit. So leaning down all the way. And now we're opening up our feet nice and wide and let's incorporate the other hand. So stretching all the way over as you lean down. Trying to keep the hips as they are and the movement is coming from the torso and from the mid-body. Now let's bring up both our arms up to parallel. Open the legs up slightly wider and we're stretching over to one side, dipping down as the hand reaches towards the ankle. So we're twisting the body, looking behind you, going back up to neutral, and then we're going for a twist. So this is quite a fast movement as you go from one side to the other, making sure that when you come up, you come all the way up to standard with the hands out to either side. Now we're going to come back to neutral. Your arms are going to come into the air. They're going to lock together and you're going to swing all the way down. Bend the knees as wide as you can and then come up. So we're trying to reach towards the floor and then spread the arms and come back up again. So nice big circular movements with the arms as you come up. Let's swoop down one more time, this time staying low, and let's pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stay there, release the arms, swoop down again. Let's go lower for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And last time, inhale, exhale, come up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale. Exhale, dropping even lower. The arms are coming up and we're holding there. Keep it still. Keep the hold and then release. Inhale. Exhaling back down and we're going to hold again. Dropping deeper into the squat. Focus on the breath. Keep the arms up nice and tall and release. Let's come into a low squat and we're just going to twist over to one side and then twisting around to the other. And let's go again on each side, making sure to stay low. Stay in your squat position as you twist and reach all the way round. Keep it going, feeling a nice stretch in your back and your spine as you move from one side to the other. Coming up to neutral, we're going to inhale and on the exhale, we're dipping down over to the left side. Release the arm and let's go to the left. So we're bending that knee, making sure the knee isn't coming over the toe. So you're really squatting down into the glutes rather than leaning forward. Inhale and exhale to go down. Inhale to come up and exhale to go down. Using the arms to propel you forward as you come up and then bringing them together as you go back down. We're now going to twist the body over to the right side and we're going to do a nice deep lunge and pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back up, bringing the feet together, and we're going on the opposite side. The hands are going to come nice and tall, pulsing for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, come back up. Inhale, exhale, let's drop back down on the left side and pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to neutral. Inhale to prepare, exhale, right leg comes down, arms come up, a pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, back up to neutral. This time when we go down, we're just going to hold. So inhale to prepare, exhale to come back down, arms are coming up, find that position, and we're holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, come back up to neutral. And we're going to swap over to the right leg and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now spinning yourself around, and we're going to do some balancing movements. So your hands are coming onto your pelvic girdle, using the wall for support if you have to. And we're just going to alternate between legs. So bringing the knee up to a 90-degree angle and then dropping back down. So you're inhaling to come up and then exhaling to come back down. Distributing the weight from one leg to the other, seeing how we feel, seeing which leg feels stronger, and focusing on that central point so that we're not looking down as the knee comes up. And now we're going to incorporate the hands. So you're reaching with the opposite arm towards the ceiling as you grab and pull forward. As you grab, I want you to crunch the abs and imagine that you're really trying to pull something down towards you. And let's go for one more on each side. And last one. Release the arms. And we're going to come back to neutral. Hands are going to come onto your pelvic girdle and we're opening up the legs. So we're going to try and balance on that left leg as we open up the right one. So making big circular rotations with the knee, pointing the foot, we're going to tap it on the floor behind us and then swing it all the way back round. Trying to keep your balance if you can. Let's go on to the opposite leg. And we're doing exactly the same thing. It's going to really help if you find that central point and you focus. And dropping back down and opening up the hip and coming back down and round. And let's do a few more. Don't forget to smile. And last one. So we're going to bring the legs back to hip distance apart. And we're doing some big shoulder rotations. So the arms are straight, coming all the way forward. Inhaling to come up and exhaling to roll them back down. So when you're doing this, I don't want the shoulders to come up towards the ears. So try and keep them at the same height. And we're going backwards with the same movement, making sure the hips are nice and strong. Squeezing your pelvic floor, squeezing the core, focusing on the breath as the arms come up. Noticing where the imbalances are in the shoulders. And let's do a few more. Inhale to come up, exhale to come back down. And last one, and release the arms. Make sure you're nice and soft in the knees. Bring the arms together. And we're going to come up in front of you. Imagine that you're holding a ball as we twist over to the right side. Coming back to neutral. Exhaling to twist over to the left. And let's keep going to the right. And then swinging all the way back round. Making sure that you're still in that nice squat position. Your back straight. Imagine you've got that string pulling you up from the back of the head as you go from one side to the other. The width between the arms is not going to change. Then what I want you to do is when you're on the right side, to imagine that someone's pulling their arms forward and they're putting them back. Come back to neutral. Over to the left side and let's go again on that side. So this is going to have those tiny little movements in the shoulder blades. Lengthening the shoulders, releasing any tension, and then drop the arms, come back to neutral. And we're now going to go into our squat series. So feet hip distance apart. Inhale to prepare. On the exhalation, coming down into that chair position as the arms come up, and then coming back up to neutral. Inhale, exhale to come down. You're doing 8 of these. So we've got 6 more to go. Inhale, exhale to drop. Making sure that the knees aren't coming far over the feet. So you're really squatting down. And then come up. Every time that you come up, I want you to push your hips forward and come slightly onto your tiptoes, distributing the weight forward, squeezing the glutes, pushing the hips forward, strengthening the quads as you come up. And the next time we go down, we're going to hold. So inhale, exhale to come down. Let's hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, come up. Inhale to prepare, and we're dropping back down into our squat position to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shoot the hips forward. Arms are coming back. And now we're going to come to the back of our mat and do our roll down series. This time we're going to come up with the right knee towards the chest. Bring it up slow and controlled. And then moving on to the left leg before we go into the roll down. So chin to chest, dropping the arms down. I'm going to walk out the hands towards the edge of the mat and bring yourself into a plank position. Let's hold for 3, 2, and 1. Into a downward dog. Walk the hands back to the feet and roll all the way up, vertebra by vertebra, back to neutral and lifting up the left leg. Lifting up the right leg, and we're going back down. So let's get into a bit of a flow doing this movement. So dropping all the way down, releasing the hands, releasing the head as you come towards the mat. As soon as the hands reach the mat, you're walking out so that we come into that plank position. Coming all the way over, holding for 3, 2, and last one. Shooting the hips up towards the ceiling. Slowly walking the hands towards the feet, hinge from the hips, have a nice little bend there, and then bring yourself up. Slowly all the way to the top of the spine, and the head is the last thing to come up. Right leg's coming up, left leg comes up, and then we're going back into that roll down. Inhale, exhale, chin to chest, roll forward, drop down, hinge from the hips. Feel the weight of the head. Walk the hands out. Keep nice and strong in the core. Come into the hold, into that high plank. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Bring the arms back towards the feet as the hips come up. Take a fold, bending the knees if you have to. Inhale and then exhale to start to peel yourself all the way back up to standing. Let's go again for the last time. So inhale, left leg comes up, swap, right leg comes up. As it comes back down, get ready to go all the way down with the chin. So chin to chest, dropping the head, rolling the shoulders forward, coming down towards the feet, walking out the hands, really slow and controlled, sending the weight onto the top of the body, into that plank position. And this time let's hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This time releasing the knees, coming onto all fours. We're going to inhale, and then we're going to exhale. Left leg comes out, right leg comes out. Let's go back into that plank position. This time we'll hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Dropping the left leg, dropping the right leg. Inhale to prepare, and we're going to really fire up the quads and the glutes and the core. And we're going to go again. So we're coming into that plank position. This time we're going to open up towards the right. We're going to drop back down, and we're going to twist and open up the left. So I want you to alternate between sides, making sure the hips are staying nice and neutral. And you're having that tiny twist and rotation as you come round. Release the legs, come back to all fours. Inhale. And on the exhalation, we're going to shoot the legs back out. And let's do the same thing again. Twisting, opening up towards the right. Looking towards the thumb as you come round. and swapping over, going over to the left. Coming back down, super slow and controlled, making sure that our fingers are nice and spread. The weight is pushing up through the wrists, up through the shoulders, and then come back to neutral and onto all fours. And we're going to go one last time on these side planks. So inhale, exhale, left leg comes out, right leg comes out, twisting over to the right side as the hand comes up, looking towards the thumb, keeping nice and long and lengthening the spine, and twist to the left side. Rolling and that smooth rotation over from one side to the other, sending the weight from one leg onto the other leg, reaching all the way around, and then coming back, releasing the knees. Now going to move into our cat stretch. So on the exhalation, curving the spine, pushing it up towards the ceiling, and on the exhalation, dipping forward, bending the elbows, and looking up as we bend the spine the opposite direction. Inhale, exhale to curve the spine. Bring the body down, roll forward as the spine curves, and then coming back to neutral, and we're going again. With the same movement, dipping down as the elbows bend before you come up and back to neutral. Find that strong all fours position, and we're going to open up the chest. So opening up the right arm, looking towards the thumb, and then we dip down into thread the needle. So the ears go into the mat, and then we're coming back up to look at the thumb. As you move through this position, your hips are going to stay stable, opening up the chest and stretching out all the upper back muscles, the trapezius, all of those deep shoulder muscles. Keep going with this movement as you flow to the mat and then back up, using the other arm to strengthen and push through the shoulder. And let's keep going. This time the hand is going to come up and above the head, come up onto the fingertips as you push further into the stretch. Inhale through the nose, and on the exhalation, you're going to come back up to our all fours. And let's go on the left side. So stretching out the arm really nice and wide, dipping it underneath the opposite arm, taking a break, and then coming back up to the ceiling. So flow into this movement. Try and find where it feels nice when you get to the mat. So maybe this position is uncomfortable, maybe you need to readjust yourself, making sure that we're not putting ourselves in any discomfort. And this should be a really nice stretch all along your back muscles. Making sure that every time that you reach, you're trying to pull a little bit further towards the ceiling. This time the hand's going to come above the head and we go into the same stretch. So really lengthening that arm, making sure the hips stay where they are, and then come back up to all four position. This time we're going to open up the knees and you're going to come into a child's pose. Putting your head on the mat, releasing the arms in front of you and taking some deep inhalations. Filling up the chest and then coming back up to neutral. We're now going to go into our one-legged plank position. So I want you to come into a high plank. We're going to lift up the right leg. You shoot backwards with the left foot and then forwards before the right leg comes back down. Lift up the left leg, shoot back and forwards with the right foot, and then bring the legs back down. Come onto your knees, inhale, and let's go again. So I want you to focus on shooting that leg up really nice and tall and straight as you mobilize, going back and forth with the opposite foot. So this is going to really help strengthen the core, work all of your glutes. Nice. So coming up onto your knees, we're going to inhale. On the exhalation, the arms come up as you tilt backwards. So you're really using the quads as you shoot yourself to a nice diagonal. Inhale, exhale, the arms come up. Looking forward, looking in between the hands, and then push them back. We're keeping the knees imprinted in the mat. And as we lean back, we're crunching the abs. We're tilting the pelvis forward and we're squeezing the glutes. So inhale and exhale to squeeze as we roll back. And you want to keep your spine nicely in line. as though you have a stick going from your knee to the top of your forehead, and the whole thing is moving at the same time. So this time we're just holding back there and then come back up to neutral. Bringing yourself back down, we're going to come onto our sit bones. I want you to stretch out the legs, making ourselves realign. The hands are coming into the air and we're going to stretch over and reach towards the feet. Stretching out the spine, playing with trying to reach the toes, wiggling the toes if you can, and just going deeper into the movement. Come back up to seated. We're going to inhale, the arms are going to come up and you're going to roll all the way back down onto the floor. Reposition yourself if you need to and make sure that you're on the mat comfortably. So your hands are going to be above the head on the floor behind you. You're going to inhale, the arms are going to come up so that they're directly above the chest. As you exhale, you're going to roll all the way forward, pulling yourself up and lean over towards the feet, hinging from the hips. And then we slide all the way back down, nice and controlled, and back up to the mat. So inhale, the arms come up, and then exhale to pull the full body off the mat, hinging from the hips, and then reaching over to the toes. Inhale here, and then exhale to slowly roll all the way back down again. Imagining that you've got that ball in between the hands. And let's go again. Inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, pull yourself forward, squeeze the abdominals, hinge from the hips, roll forward, reach towards the feet. And then slide all the way back down. So this movement's really going to help mobilize the spine and just help promote better alignment as we develop all of those core muscles. And let's keep going again. This time we're going to stretch over to the feet. We're going to try and hold the toes and really push into the stretch. So take a big inhale through the nose, fill up the lungs, and then exhale to come back down. Shoulders are going to be on the mat, opening up the chest. Your hands are coming onto the mat. And we're going to lift up the legs. Dorsiflex the feet as the legs come all the way down, slow and controlled. So we're inhaling and then we're exhaling to lift the feet. Keeping the legs together as you bring them all the way to the top, flexing the feet forward as they shoot back down to the mat. Inhale when they reach the mat, and then exhale to lift, crunching the abdominals, tightening the hip flexors as you come up, and then shooting them back down. Nice and controlled movements. Let's go again. Dorsiflex when you get to the top and back down. So I really want you to focus on what the quads are doing as you pull them up. This time we're going to shoot up the right leg and we're going to make some big circles going anti-clockwise. So trying to keep your hips on the mat, trying to keep both legs straight, and with the leg that you're moving in that big circle, try and pause when you get to the top for a second as you realign and then drop back down. This time we're going to stop and you're going to go in the opposite direction. So we're now going clockwise with those big circles. And as we do this movement, just trying to be aware of how the hips feel. Maybe you've got some crunching and some cracking or popping in the hip joints, but just identifying and being aware of these little movements. Then we're going to swap round. So crunch the knees in towards you, roll out the feet as we get ready to swap legs. So turning the ankles, seeing how it feels, and then release the right leg onto the mat. And we're going to do the same with the left leg. So coming up, straight as you can, pointing the foot towards the ceiling. And this time we're going to go clockwise. So remembering to pause when we get to the top. Holding it there and then swinging it all the way around as big as you can if you've got the space. And let's keep it going. So maybe the left leg is stronger, maybe the right leg is stronger, but just becoming aware of how we feel. And now let's go the opposite direction with that leg. Using the palms of the hand to push into the mat for stability and looking towards the ceiling. So making sure that you're not looking up and towards the leg. So you've still got that alignment in your spine. Bring both the knees in. Roll out the ankles. Stretch out the feet. Allow any tension to be released through the legs. And then you're going to flex both feet into the air, pointing the toes, bringing the legs together. And we're going to hold it there. Dorsiflex the feet. And I want you to try and reach towards the toes. The hands are coming back to the mat and then stretch and reach towards the toes. So the hands are going to tap the floor behind you and then push up towards the feet, making sure your hips stay firmly on the mat. So we're really pulling the top of the body, using the top of the abdominals to pull yourself towards the feet. And keep going with this movement. We're going to do 4 more. So using the arms and the momentum to pull yourself towards the feet. And let's keep going. You've got 2 more. Exhale into crunch. And last one. And then release the legs. Hug the knees in tight towards you. Maybe rock back and forth, giving the back a nice massage. Going from side to side. Using the hands to roll the knees round. And then we're going to roll all the way up and just mobilize the spine. So I want you to rock all the way down and then come back up. So you're using the body to come into a little ball and the momentum of swinging back. Also maybe using the hands to bring yourself up to neutral. So now coming firmly onto your sit bones, knees are going to be bent, feet are in the mat, and we're going into a half roll back. So inhale, the arms come up, nice and strong in front of you. And we're going to exhale, curl the tailbone, making that nice C shape in the back, finding our crunch position, squeezing the quads, and then come back up. Inhale, exhale to go down. Inhale here, and then exhale to come up. Imagining that you've got that ball in between your arms that you're bringing down and putting in between your knees. Inhaling when you get there, and then exhaling to come up again, making sure that you're nice and tall in the spine. This time we're going to go down and pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. Keep the arms up. Don't let them drop down. Make sure the shoulders are away from the ears. Inhale, and we're exhaling to go down and pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. Keep the arms there. Come back down. Let's go again. You can do it for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. Release the arms. Release the shoulders. Bring yourself tall onto your sit bones. Use the hands to pull yourself up. And this time we're going down and we're doing our oblique twist. So imagining that you've got that ball that you're passing to either side, going back and forth, twisting the torso. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, come back up. Relax the shoulders, relax the arms. Inhale. And on the exhalation, you're coming back up. We're sliding down, finding that crunch, and you're going again. So making sure that you're low enough to feel your abdominals, but not so low that your feet are coming off the mat. So this is quite a fast movement, going from one side to another, building up our core strength. Hopefully by this point, you've got a little bit of a sweat on, but keep going, pushing through, and then come back up. Using the arms onto the knees to pull yourself nice and tall. And let's go back down again into the same movement. Imagining you've got that ball, keeping the hands the same width apart as you twist. Looking in between the arms, and following the gaze from one side to another. And let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, come back up. This time, inhale through the nose, arms come up, and as we exhale, we drop down. Find that crunch. We're going over to one side, and we're going to open up the arm. So we're staying low, and we're really stretching out the right arm as we follow the hand, going back and forth. Going back up to the centre, and let's go again on the opposite side. So exhale to come down, opening up, and then closing. So opening up the chest, working all the obliques, and working the abs as we stay in this crunch position. So it's quite a fast dynamic movement going back and forth with the arm. Going back up to neutral, and then we're going to slowly drop all the way down so that our back is on the mat. Shoulders are on the mat, opening up the chest, and we're bringing the legs into a tabletop position, so that nice 90-degree angle. The arms are coming up, and then we're going to alternate. So the left leg comes down as the right arm comes down. The hand and the toe tap on the floor on the mat, and then they come up to that position. So we're just swapping between sides, working our coordination, and then bringing the knees in, squeezing them tight, and then we're going to go back into that same position. So I really want you to focus on dropping the leg and the hand at the same time, and then bringing them up to exactly the same place. So we're just realigning the body and working both sides. Drop the feet down, bring the hands onto the mat. We're doing a big inhale through the nose, and on the exhalation, you're crunching forward and the arms are going to pulse up and down. So you're going quite fast with the arms, and then release back to the floor. Inhale, exhale to crunch forward and pulse up and down. And let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the arms. Inhale. And let's go again on the exhalation. Pulse up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, drop the arms back down. This time we're going to bring the legs back into the tabletop. We're going to inhale, and on the exhalation, we're going to come back into that position and pulse with the arms, crunching the abdominals, going up and down, and then dropping back to the mat. Inhale to prepare, and exhale to crunch. And let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the arms, release the shoulders. And you're coming back up into that position for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the arms, release the feet back onto the mat. And this time we're going to straighten both legs into the full 100. So curving up, again we're pulsing up and down, legs are straight, and then release the legs and relax. Let's go again. Inhale. Exhale to straighten the legs, pull yourself forward, pulse up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Release the legs, release the shoulders. And let's go one more time. Inhale. Exhale to straighten. Pulse the arms. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Stretch out the arms behind you. Bring the knees in, and then we're going to lengthen the legs into that diagonal. Hold for a second, and then release the legs. Release the feet onto the floor. Bring the knees in towards you. Give yourself a stretch in the back. And then we're going into our single leg stretch. So alternating between knees as we've done in the past, trying to touch the knee to the nose, crunching the stomach, swapping from one leg to another. It's quite a fast, dynamic movement, maybe going a little bit quicker than you have done in the past. Trying to build up our cardio and then release. And let's go again. This time, we're going to point the elbows towards the knees. So I want you to have the hands locked behind the head, and we're going back and forth, crunching the abs, twisting to each side as the legs point out straight. And let's keep going. You've got 4 more. Really try and crunch and touch the elbow to your knees, and then release. Drop the arms back down, release the feet onto the mat. Inhale through the nose, and on the exhalation, we're going to release the arms from behind the head and bring them to the sides of the body, so they're parallel to the hips. This time we're going to do our bridge movement. So the hips are going to come up. You're going to find the diagonal from your shoulders to your knees, and we're going to pulse up and down. So we're doing small thrusts towards the ceiling, and then drop back down, your hips come onto the mat. Inhale to prepare, and then exhale to roll the hips forward. Let's pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down, release the hips. Inhale, and exhale, we're going back up. Pulsing, really tiny, small movements, squeezing the glutes, pulsing up and down, and then release back onto the mat. And let's go again. This time, we're going to lift up the right leg and then lift up the left and then come back down. So I want you to alternate between bringing the knee up into a 90-degree angle, keeping the hips high, and then dropping back onto the mat. And seeing which side feels stronger, enhancing the glutes, enhancing the quads, trying to keep the hips up as high as you can, and then release down. Inhale through the nose, and then on the exhalation, we're going back into the bridge. Keeping strong in the glutes. We're going to straighten that right leg, pointing towards the ceiling, keeping it nice and tall. Imagine someone's pointing from the ankle, and then drop back down, slow and controlled. Keeping the hips up, and we're bringing the left leg straight as you can, pointing the foot, looking towards the ceiling, keeping this position, holding it still, and then release all the way down. Inhale to prepare, and then on the exhalation, we're coming back into that bridge position. So thrusting up with the hips, finding that diagonal, we're pointing the right leg. Try your hardest to straighten up the leg, push further towards the ceiling with the hips, hold there for a second, and then release back down. Keeping the hips up, we're going to swap to the left leg. So straightening up, pointing the toe, feeling it in the quads, feeling it in the glutes, and then bring the leg back down, release the hips onto the mat. Pull the knees in towards you. Roll out the ankles again. We've done a lot of work on our core today and our bridge positions. So coming back into neutral, and we're going to put our hands on our pelvic girdle and open up the legs one by one, going from one side to another to open up the hip joints. Making sure the feet are hip distance apart as you open up the knee to one side. And then coming back into neutral. And this is going to help realign the pelvis, and if you have any misalignments in the hip joints. So you're using the hands to feel the top of the pelvic girdle and make sure that you're moving from the leg joint. So now we're going to roll all the way around onto our sides. The hand's going to come up and above the head as you rest the head on the top of the arm. Using the other arm to stabilise yourself, bringing the legs into a 90-degree angle, putting your hands onto your pelvic girdle if you want and you've got the stability, and then we're going to open up the knees. So this movement is called the crab. So keeping the feet together. On the exhalation, we're opening up the knees, imagining that you're putting a ball in between your legs. Then we're going to lift up the feet so they're pointing towards the ceiling, and do the same movement. So opening up the hips, opening up the knees, and then closing. So using the glutes and the core to stabilise yourself so that we're not rocking back as we open up. Trying to keep the feet as high off the mat as possible, and then bring them down. Straighten that bottom leg. Inhale to prepare, and on the exhalation, that top leg is coming up, and we're going to make some tiny circles, super slow and controlled, using the arm to stabilize, building all the abductor and the thigh muscles. And then the circle is going to go slightly bigger. And now making the circle even bigger, so we're nearly touching the mat as we come down, and then shooting as high as we can. So really working all of those beautiful leg muscles. And then we're going to bring it solid and still as the bottom leg touches and taps the top leg. So trying to only move that bottom leg and keeping the top one as straight as you can. Going up and down with that bottom leg before you release. So now rolling over onto the other side, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So rolling the arm out in front of you, head's resting on the forearm. Use that other arm for stability. Come into a 90-degree angle with the legs. So using your hand if you want, just to keep your hips still, making sure we don't rock back and forth. Keeping the feet together as we open up the knees. And let's keep going. And then what we're going to do is lift the feet into the air. So bringing them up towards the ceiling, and we're doing the same movement. Keeping the feet elevated as we open up the knees, opening up the hips, making sure that we're looking forward. The neck's still really nice and long, using the hand to control the pelvis to make sure we're not rocking back and forward as we do the movement. And now let's release the leg, and we're going to bring the top leg elevated and into the air. So inhale to prepare, exhale to lift as we make them small circles. So imagine that you're painting around a tiny cup, and then slowly the movement is going to get bigger and bigger as we spiral into a big circle, going as wide as you can. So dropping all the way down towards the mat as you come back up. Using that hand to stabilize yourself and making sure that we're not falling backwards. It's really good for your balance and for building all of those core and inner thigh muscles. Then we're going to hold that leg straight, and the other leg is going to come up to tap the toe. So trying to keep that top leg as straight as possible and really using all of the thigh muscles to pull the legs together. Release back down. Relax the legs. And this time we're going to really slowly roll onto our front. So you're going to roll round and onto your belly. So come so that your hands are parallel to your ears and out towards the mat. Elbows are going to be on the mat. Inhale, and as you exhale, you're curving the spine and looking forward, straightening the arms. So you've got that nice curvature in the lumbar and the thoracic spine. Come down and exhale to come all the way up, straightening the arms, keeping the hips and the pelvic bone pushed into the mat. And let's go again. Inhale, exhale to come up, straightening the arms, and maybe seeing how we feel with a slight little twist from one side to another. Come back down. We're going one last time with this movement. So keeping the hands on the mat, straightening the arms, and then coming back down to neutral. This time we're going to come up so that you're looking towards the mat, and we're doing our leg kicks. So we're going from one side to the other, doing a double leg tap towards the glutes. We're bringing both legs together as they do this movement in synchronicity. So coming towards the glutes and then straightening up. And this is really good for strengthening the hamstrings. And then let's come onto all fours. Inhale through the nose, and on the exhalation we're looking towards the right, twisting the spine, and then come back to neutral and let's go towards the left. So feeling a nice stretch in the lats. Come back to neutral, Exhale to curve the spine, look towards the tailbone, and then straighten up. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, go into your cat-cow. Look towards the navel, and then back to neutral. Coming into a full Superman. The left arm's coming up, the right leg's coming up as we twist over to the right side. Coming back to the middle. Inhale. Exhale to raise the right arm and the left leg and twist over to the left side with the right arm. So you should feel a really nice stretch all along the spine. And then back to neutral. Coming back up with the left hand and the right leg and stretching over to the left side with the hand. Coming back down into neutral and going again on the opposite side. So we're twisting the body, feeling a nice stretch as we start to cool down and finish the session. Come so that you're lying flat on your back. So roll yourself round, find a comfortable position, and then we're going to bring the arms out for stability. Your right leg's going to come over the left side as you look towards the right hand. So you should feel this stretch in the glutes, in all of the mid-back, and in your shoulder muscles. And then come back to neutral and we're going to swap onto the left leg. Let's bring the leg up, twisting over. Don't worry if you feel any cracks. Just let everything release and relax as you look towards the left side. Hold for a second and then come back to neutral. Bringing the hands on to our rib cage, opening up the legs, bringing the feet together, and we're going to do our lateral breathing set. So as you inhale, I want you to fill up the lungs as deep, as much as you can. And then on the exhalation, really emptying all of the air. And let's keep going in your own time, using the hands. So I want you to try and completely relax. Imagine that your body is really heavy, sinking into the floor. Your head's heavy, your skull, the weight of your shoulders, the weight of your knees as they fall to either side. And imagine that your hips are sinking into the mat. Focus on the breath and focus on every inhalation going slightly deeper. Really pushing out and expanding the lungs. And then exhaling and making sure that all of the air empties the body. Bring the legs back together and we're going to come up into our box seated position. So one leg goes across the top and the other one goes down towards the side. Inhale, the arms come up, and then exhale to go over to the right side as you really stretch and lean as much as you can over, trying to get your elbow into the mat. Hold in this position, lengthening all the lateral side of the body, and then come back and go over to the opposite side, seeing where it feels tight. Making sure the neck's still really nice and long as you pull over and imagining that someone is pulling you by the wrist. Going over to the opposite side, making sure the hips are still on the mat. Come up, back to neutral, and then we're going over to the other side. A really nice long stretch. Swapping legs. So now your right leg is in front and your left leg's to the side. Arms are coming up and we're going all the way over to the right as the left arm comes up and over. So focusing on where there's any tension, what muscles are tight, which ones are shorter, which muscles are longer. Maybe you have a left side that's stronger or a right side, but just becoming more aware of how our bodies are feeling as we work through the practice. So going from one side to another, focusing on the breath and focusing on opening up the chest. and keep going over to the other side. And then back to neutral, relax the arms. Opening up the legs. You can either bend them here if you want, or you can cross the legs. If you can, straighten them off. Dorsiflex the feet, and we're going to walk the hands forward. Lengthening the arms, looking towards the navel, stretching all along the spine. And if you can, just inching forward with every exhalation. Strengthening the hamstrings. Looking towards the back, and then we're going to go over to the right side. Making sure the arms are straight. Trying to put the palms of the hands on the mat if you can. And looking towards your navel. Inhale through the nose, and then on the exhalation, going all the way around over to the left side. Pushing into the stretch, looking towards the navel. Trying to relax the head. And then coming back up to neutral. We're now going to do a glute stretch. So lengthening the right leg as the left leg comes up and over, holding the ankle and pulling the knee towards the chest as you sit up tall. So really pulling the chest towards the knee, stretching the glutes, and then we're going to swap sides. Lengthening the left leg, using the arms to assist the stretch, dorsiflex the foot, pull the shoulders up and down, and inhale. And on the exhalation, try and get that knee closer towards the chest. And with every practice, we should be becoming more mobile and a lot stronger. Now we're going to come round and we're going to do a hip opener. So I want you to come into a nice low lunge. The right knee is on the floor and we're pushing into that left leg. So at this point, I really want you to squeeze the glutes to roll the tailbone forward as you push into the stretch. So inhale through the nose, and then on the exhalation, try and inch the foot forward and push further and deeper into that leg, opening up the hip flexors. So if you've been sitting all day, or if you've got an office job, this is really going to open up those deep hip muscles. Swapping over to the other side. So we're going into the left hip flexor. So really pushing onto the right leg, squeezing the glutes, playing with how it feels. Inhale through the nose and then exhale to inch the foot slightly further forward. Really pushing into the left side, keeping the gaze forward and the chin is parallel to the mat. And at all points, just knowing where our alignment is and making sure that our shoulders are back and down and we have good alignment throughout the practice. Now we're going to come all the way back down and I want you to come into a cross-legged position. So getting comfortable on your sit bones. We're going to inhale, the shoulders come up and then exhale, drop down. So we're now starting to cool down as we finish the practice. Releasing any tension that's left in the body. Squeeze the shoulders towards the ears, hold them there and then drop back down on the exhalation. Inhale to come up, squeeze as tight as you can and then slowly exhale to release. And noticing how we feel. Moving our head to the right and then over to the left. Maybe there's a little bit of tension left in the neck muscles. So just making sure that we try and relax everything before we carry on with our day. Going from one side over to another and then rolling the head round. Really slow and controlled, making sure the shoulders aren't moving. So dropping down, chin to your chest as you move over to one side. Waking up the body. Getting the blood flowing to the brain. And then we're going to hold over to the right as we look behind the shoulder. And then bring it over to the left as we look behind the left shoulder. And inhale through the nose. And then on the exhalation, come back to neutral as we look down. Bringing the hands out as we walk the hands as far away from the body as possible. Keeping the hips firmly on the mat. Pushing into the stretch. Release the head, feel the weight of the neck. Coming back up to neutral, the hands are going to be parallel to the mat and we're going to do some small circles. So really tiny controlled movements, and slowly we're going to get bigger, making them into plates, and then we're going to get even bigger. So imagine that we're going around a basketball. Keeping the gaze forward, and then let's go for that big hula hoop, warming up the arm muscles again, warming up the trapezius, the rhomboids, all those deep back muscles, the rotator cuff, your scapula, and then coming back to neutral, and we're going to go the opposite direction. So going backwards, making those small circles. As we slowly get wider and wider, the circles getting bigger. Trying to keep the core tight, make sure you're not flaring the rib cage, and then really big circles, warming up, getting the arms ready, activating all of those upper body muscles, doing big circular rotations with the arms. Release the hands, and let's do a twist over to the left side, using the right arm to stretch and push into that side. And then we're going to go back to neutral and over to the right side. Again, using the left hand to push into the stretch. Coming back to centre and releasing the shoulders and just congratulating yourselves on completing this week's session. And I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you again next week. So well done, everybody, and take care.